My parents were born in this community and they grew up here. When I was born, everybody knew me. They were waiting for me. When I was born 7th, so I had 6 elder siblings. My father had siblings in the area, and my mother also had siblings in the area. So we had cousins in the area. So there was already an existing network. The first carnivals I remember were in the late 1960s, when I was in primary school and about to go into secondary school. So as a 10-year-old, come home from school, and then immediately you'd be arranging to meet your school friends on the park to go to carnival. Then, a few years later, in the 1970s, we were having carnival irregularly in Butetown at that time. In 1976, it was a particularly wet summer, and Butetown Carnival was cancelled. So a group of us, kind of older young people, if I can put it that way, I was about 19, went up to Notting Hill Carnival in London. When we got there, we just felt like we were part of a bigger world and not just a small corner of Cardiff. We saw lots of happy people, and in particular we saw lots of happy black people. We saw things like the bands, the people in costumes, the street entertainers. It's like walking through a film scene where all the extras have been told to do something. The Notting Hill Carnival riots in 1976, there was like a rise of, they later on called this steaming, where big gang of young guys would just rush a crowd, snatch everything and run through. You're walking across a junction of another street and you can see this thing happening down like a tsunami of people. Hear the intensity growing as it caught the street. The police response to that then was to go in equally kind of vigorously, a mob-handed, and people were getting caught in the crossfire. The police were fully engaged. At that point, they had the whole riot gear on. And when the police approached, it turned into a riot, and a full-blooded riot. Police cars were being petrol bombed as they drove down the road. At least dozens of injuries for the police, countless injuries for the public. I'm sure at that time there were lots of people in the police who probably didn't even want to see a Notting Hill Carnival anyways. Although we did have Butetown Carnival, it still hadn't been enshrined. It'd come and go. And when we returned from Notting Hill in '76, because of the problems, the adults decided that we shouldn't have to go to London to take part, enjoy our culture, should be in Cardiff. We should have our own.
First one I attended, there was thousands and thousands of people. You know, I'm talking 15, 20,000 people. It was huge. I think at the time it was only second in size to the Notting Hill Carnival, so it was massive.
Just see a mass of people all walking around enjoying themselves, some dancing. So most people would just sit on the grass and chill.
Everyone was friendly, happy, you know, everyone helped each other. Just happiness. People was coming from everywhere. Up the valleys, they even come from Bristol, everywhere, to that carnival back in the 80s. It was big, you know, it was really big.
It was a good atmosphere, a really good atmosphere. And people are going to a carnival to have a good time.
As soon as you finish your first song, they're all whistling, wolf whistling and clapping and all that, and you know you've done a good show, like, you know.
And dancing. Yeah, you just see people so dancing. Oh, I'm not going to dance now.
Because of the way the community was, both connected and creative, the community made carnival. So carnival makes community, because once a year we're bringing people together to do these things, which they used to do all year round. The carnival initially came to a halt early to mid-90s, mainly due to a lack of funding. We brought Carnival back in 2014. Wales Millennium Centre came and offered us a stage, and all of a sudden it takes on a whole new scale. So they were really helpful from early days.
Not many people used to go down Butetown because it had a very bad reputation. If you went down there, you either get mugged or beaten up or whatever.
It was just another kind of nuance of racism. You were one of those people. You lived down there. It was always seen as being edgy. We in the community feel it. Yeah, it was stigmatized. We were poor. It was socially stigmatized. It was culturally stigmatized. And yet, at the same time, exoticized.
Everything started changing. It had a nice reputation then, and now you can walk down Bute Street without having to worry or anything like that. It's just a nice area to be in.
Cardiff is a pretty friendly place, I think, I've learned. Butetown was one of the friendliest places imaginable. We welcome people from all over.
When my grandparents came from Jamaica to Cardiff, they went to Riverside. So my dad was born and grew up in Riverside, and my mum's a Rumney girl. So I was born and grew up in Rumney, but I've always been back and forth between the docks to see my family. I'm a reggae artist. For me, it's really important because reggae is the music of my ancestors, and I never want that to be forgotten because it's such a part of our history and culture. It'd be crazy if somebody came to the carnival and thought anything negative about it. It's important for me to be a part of the carnival. As an artist, I look in the audience and I see my grandparents' friends and their children and their children and their children's children. So it's a generational thing, and then hopefully that keeps it alive, and it's really important to see that.
Butetown is an extremely diverse community, and it always has been. People look out for each other.
I think no matter who you are, where you're from, and what community you're part of, everyone is here for one reason, and that's to celebrate the area, celebrate the space, and just come together.
So in the future, my main aim is to bring the people of Butetown together so they can see and appreciate their own talents and see what a special community they belong to. By bringing people together, the results are not always predictable, but they're always worthwhile.